Well, good morning, Jacksonville across the First Coast. It's been a long day out here on our Thursday, and we're still tracking, of course, Hurricane Ian pulling off towards our north. Plenty of shear just blowing that Sears shield all the way across the Carolinas. Center of our storm is on the southern extent of that. Main reason is the southern half of it has just been degraded by dry air wrapping into it. Winds right now, as of 11 o'clock, our next update. It's going to come out here at 2 to give us an idea of how strong this is. Hurricane hunters are out there right now flying through it. 85-mile-per-hour winds in that. Moving northeast at 10 miles per hour. Pressure is at 984 millibars. Expected to continue to remain a Category 1 as it comes on shore there into the Carolinas. We still have tropical storm warnings in place along our coast, but wouldn't be surprised if this is dropped in the near future. Even that storm surge warning, just because water levels are already high along our rivers and inlets, but we're not expecting the tide to rise again to the point where we were seeing yesterday. So that's the good news there. Offshore, by the way, we do have those hurricane warnings for our waters towards the east, and it's no surprise they got 13 to 14-foot seas and have been seeing those winds offshore 60 to 70 miles per hour. But on the coast, it is backing off. We got the dry air wrapping in around it. I'll take a look at that in just a second. But there's a look at the guidance where the storm is headed out there towards places of Myrtle Beach. All right, so here's a look at the radar representation. You have that dry air. It really is clearing out pretty much for everybody outside of some clouds there in southeastern Georgia. Maybe some coastal precip. I think that's more of an artifact here on radar. That's not really what's happening. Everybody is just dried out. We got that dry air. The temperature is lower. We actually had a record low high temperature here on Thursday just because it's cool air getting spilled in from the north, and that is a killer of tropical systems. But you know, this is still going to be a big rainmaker from Savannah over towards the Charleston area. Like I said, back down towards the south, though, has significantly cleared out. Windy conditions, though, I mean, the gradient's still there. The rain may stop, but the gradient is still there. So coming up the river at NAS Jacks, you're still getting some gusts about 40 miles per hour. Mayport at 33. At the airport, about 37-mile-per-hour wind gust. You know, nothing to laugh at. Still could see some tree limbs continuing to fall down here, but gradually, as this continues to pull towards the north and east, that gradient is going to continue to lax a bit, and that's when we're going to start to see those winds back up throughout the day gradually. Here's a look at where the hurricane hunters are right now. They're out there doing laps. They found a pressure at 984 millibars, which is what the latest update has as well. So really just kind of confirming that, but they're still hard at work continuing to monitor the storm system for its impacts here into South Carolina, where hurricane warnings have been issued for them out there. Not for us. Our hurricane watch actually was dropped here several hours ago. So here's a look at our hour-by-hour futurecast as our storm system kicks off towards the north and east at 3:30 this morning. Still got those winds out of the northwest. Look how they're already backing off for places like Valdosta. I mean, 10, 15 miles per hour. Windy out and closer to the storm coming out of the northwest, about 20 to 40 miles per hour. But as we go ahead through the day today, watch how these get down into the 20s, and through this evening, kind of coming out of the west at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. So here's some of the main points for the First Coast. Passing east of us over 130 miles. Overnight high tide will cause some flooding, but lower than the last high tide for sure. Main reason, you got that offshore wind. Just don't have the rain to go with it. But we still could see those gusts up there, especially east of Highway 17. Max flood times for this morning, if we do have any, the Buckman's around 4 a.m. Main Street Bridge around 2 o'clock this morning. Take a look at Fernandina at 12:45, so that's already kind of past your max time there. Brunswick at 12:45, St. Augustine just after noon as well, with that next high tide kicking in, and you do have that offshore wind, so it's not going to be nearly as bad. All right, so take a look at southeastern areas of Georgia, where Charleston, Brantley, dry, no problem as far as the rivers. Gusts up to 30 mile per hour still here this morning. No rainfall out there towards Lake City. I know we haven't been talking very much about you because you just don't have any problems there outside of those breezy conditions. Still can knock down some tree limbs. Well, Glencaim and Nassau additional, maybe an inch. Actually, you know what? And that's probably going to be down to 0 now. Water level rise, you know, all of that is continuing to back off. No more rain over towards Clay and Putnam. St. Johns Creek, the river rise still about 2 to 5 feet, but the Black Creek significantly lower than what was anticipated out there. So no big issue with that. St. John's and Flagler, no more rain. That's the big one for you guys. I know you've taken the brunt of this storm system. Those winds are still gusting, but boy, they're going to continue to back off. Our next couple updates, I'm actually going to lower this number down to about 30 at this point. High tide is at 12:30, so we're already just a bit past it. 4 feet above normal. We did see still some little low-lying flooding out there at your high tide, but it's already improving. While today, look at this, got an actual just traditional weather graphic for you. 76 cooler conditions with that northwesterly wind in place, about 15 to 30 miles per hour. Sunset tonight's going to be at 7:13 p.m. Friday's beach and boat. If you're going to head out to the beach, 77 northwest of 15 to 30. Seas are still rough. I mean, let's be honest, we got a hurricane offshore. It's absolutely rough surf out there. Could very dangerous, so still stay out of the water, obviously. High tide's going to be right around noon time. Sea surface temperature about 81. All right, let's look at our future cast as this moves towards the north. Dry air is spilling in behind it, not only cooling off our temperatures here into the Jacksonville area around the first coast, but also bringing down those temperatures. And we're going to go through our 7-day. We haven't shown you a 7-day in a while, so of course I want to give you the latest on this. Friday, 76, up to 84, 86 by Sunday. Monday's at 80, and you know, we could actually be a little bit of warm up this weekend. It's actually going to be rather beautiful into the mid 80s out here. Yeah, not all too bad throughout the rest of the week. All right, we'll be back in just about an hour. We're going to take another look at your storm system.